Hey, hey, friends. I feel like that required an additional little sing song, Maria. Welcome to the season finale. Can you believe that we made it a whole season as co-hosts?
Oh, we did it.
We did it. Listen, y'all, with 3 children, a husband, a partner, parents, travel, packing, moving. Listen, cash flow insecurity. Honey,
CIS for cash flow insecurity.
come on, CIS, cash flow insecurity. Y'all hear me? And all of the things between us, we have, listen, client delivery, hello, travel. We have managed to get 12 and a possible 13.
I'm very proud of us.
Episodes in the
and
tank.
I'm very grateful for the invitation to have been here, Kashana. It's been wonderful.
Listen, when you were a guest, your episodes had the highest spins. And so it just made sense. We already work together, already friends. Why don't we just chop it up the way we chop it up every week? And so this has been awesome, y'all. And I'm not encouraging everybody to get a podcast. This is a hell of a lot of work, y'all. We ain't even began to monetize this joint or just to get more people in our community to be a part of the work we're doing at ManageMint and at the Doppel Group. And so we are just getting started, right? But you can't do nothing if you don't do nothing. So with 53 episodes and counting, we are committed to making sure that you live well and lead well, that you have a life of joy, that you step into the fullness of who you are in this season. Maria, I'm sure you got many epithets that you're going to say throughout because I know you always having the zingers.
I'm a zinger. Yep. This is a fun one.
Yeah, we're having real talk, right? Just like in the group chat. And I don't know, my group chats have been kind of quiet lately. I think life is lifing for a lot of us. And we, on my end, many of my contemporaries are getting their babies off to college. Yeah. And then some are getting their babies into kindergarten. So, we on 2 ends of the spectrum.
Because that's what life in your 40s looks like.
Woo.
I have group chat theories too, but nevertheless.
You always do that.
I do. I have a group chat theory.
Talking about what we're going to talk about. And then you drop the bomb that I want to know. Now, I want to know, what is the group chat theory?
I think if your group chat's been a little quiet lately, it's because actually, and I feel differently sometimes about referring to this person, but I believe it's Simon Sinek. He said that if you tell a friend you just need 8 minutes, it could change the game for them if they're in a difficult place, if they are approaching crisis or in crisis. It's an 8-minute conversation that can change it. And I don't think you get the texture of that in a group chat. Unless you can drop a link to a Google Meet or a Zoom and be like, I need 8 minutes, y'all, and can trust who will show up for that within the group chat. I think there might be more one-offs happening with people who need to really do a deeper dive than the group chat gives space for.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that is true. Because
I think that's what's happening. Yeah.
I definitely had my 8 minutes a couple of times this summer.
Yeah.
And y'all, I am notorious for, hold on, is it okay if I record that?
Yes. I'm like, where's this going? I'm very skeptical of the recordings, the cloud, the technology. The bots are coming, and I still say please and thank you to everybody.
I come back to them because they have been so helpful. Sometimes your friends are not available for the 8 minutes. But let me tell you something. That thing in my notes, I can listen to it again, and it's just like a soothing sound. The calm that overtakes me, So listen, so we're going to have to give folks the calm that overtakes them type of feeling today, dropping some wisdom, a few side eyes if we need to. So if you haven't listened to our entire season, if you don't listen to nothing else, you listen to this episode, first of all, you're going to run back and listen to some other episodes, but this will give you some juice into who we are and how we show up and how we lead and how we help our clients do that every day.
Yes. It's the juicy group chat episode. I like it. I love it.
I like it.
We made it.
We made it. All right, Maria, we've got a lineup of juicy listener questions. Everything from on the job drama, did she really cuss out her coworker? To real life dilemmas. Should I put out a job ad for a summer boyfriend?
The answer is yes.
Who has done that? This is speaking from actual real life experience. So nothing's off limit in the group chat, right? At all.
And we'll be spilling our own tea too. We've been through some of the things, maybe all the things, but by the end, we'll also do a little rewind of the season. Don't forget, they've been amazing episodes the whole way, like episode 3, episode 7, episode 9. You don't know what we're referring to? We'll bring you along. We'll just talk about what they taught us.
Yeah. And we're going to try to get to the big questions. So you've learned all this good stuff. So what? Now what? What's your next move? And so consider this episode your loving push, or maybe a little gentle shove, okay? To take action. All right.
Let's get into it.
Hey, grab your drinks, friend.
Get hydrated. About to get educated. Okay. First up in the chat, we have a messenger. We have a message from a listener that we'll call Fired Up and Fired. So she says, I lost my job last week because I kind of cussed out my boss. In the moment, I was fed up and I had to let him have it. Now I'm sitting here like, did I just ruin my career? How do I recover from this? And should I have just kept my mouth shut?
Ooh, coming in hot. Listen, she said all the words she had been holding in. First of all, I'm not going to lie. A part of me is like, yes, tell her why you mad, son. You know, we have all fantasized about that dramatic movie scene where you toss papers in the air and storm out. And we have all seen viral videos of folks who have quit on live TV, quit on video, quit live, whatever. Half of the cast of Insecure has quit a job or told somebody off at some point. But that's TV, okay?
Kashana, I actually did this one time. It was wild. I was on a table, like my elbows were up on it, and I think maybe a whole knee was up on the table, like perhaps 3 out of 4 on all fours. And it was me, and not even my boss, but like my boss's boss. Like we were like meeting at the table in this very weird primal animal position. My boss was out, and I don't even know why I was in this meeting, to tell you the truth. And I was just having a whole out-of-body experience. It's like I could watch myself from the ceiling crawling across the desk. It was a team meeting in a conference room. There were glass walls, so everybody around us who was not in the meeting could see this. I was putting on a scene. It was a show.
I want to know what she said, right? Like, so listen, listeners, for next season, when y'all send us these stuff, can you give us some details so we can really jump in? Because now we got to like insert our own details to it. So let's just talk about how she can bounce back. Because that's really what the question she was asking. She ain't asked us for commentary on what she said.
Oh, so, right. To be fair.
Day one, you got to own it.
Mm-hmm.
I am big on name it. You got to own it. You got to step up. The consequences are yours to handle. Take a moment of self-reflection, group chat style, y'all, did I go too far? You might have. Why did you explode? Was it built up stress? Was it disrespect? Was it feeling unheard? Was it all 3? Was it something else that's even more egregious? Identifying the why helps you heal from it and not repeat it. Because before you say anything to that manager, you got to have a conversation with yourself.
Yes. Then after that, I would say step 2 is damage control.
Yeah.
If there's any opportunity for it, you really consider apologizing to now your former boss and that team. Not to get the job back, sis, that ship has sailed. But to clear your own conscience and to show some semblance of like humanity, like, oh, I recognize that was disruptive. I recognize that was not the way I want to behave, present myself, be in relationship with other people. And a simple, I regret how I handled our last conversation. That could go a long way. This is not about groveling. This is not about, necessarily showing that you're learning from it. It's just that acknowledgement, like Ashana said, naming something, owning it, that acknowledgement, and indication of some self-reflection, that could really go a long way.
Ooh, I love that. And I think like reframing the story for yourself as somebody who has been fired, as somebody who I really don't think I should have gotten let go and didn't have enough coin to sit on it and sue. You've got to be able to reframe that story, right? For yourself. You're not the woman who lost it and got fired. You are actually the woman who had a wake-up call. And now you are choosing to level up.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom line is everybody makes mistakes, and the best leaders learn and bounce back stronger. I've had a moment like this early in my career. Now, I didn't exactly drop F-bombs at a team member, And the F-bomb is almost always at the tip of my tongue. Okay, Maria, you already know.
Yep.
But I did lose my temper in a meeting more than once. And I really thought that I ruined my reputation. Okay.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Tell everybody, like, just what was going on?
Ugh, girl, I had to do some serious reputation rehab. You hear me out there just to lay down my burdens, okay? I set up one-on-ones with a couple of colleagues. I mean, this apology tour was serious. Owning that I was out of line. And the hardest one of all, I told my boss I understood if she needed to write me up. And my manager actually appreciated my honesty. It didn't really like erase what I did, but it showed growth. And I was clear. Lesson learned. Never letting that go that far again. And it doesn't mean that was the last time I was that angry. I just want to be clear. Because working in systems that are not designed for your success will have you like a pot boiling all the time. Yeah. So next time I was that angry, I took a walk and I voice noted. Me and my voice notes been going back a long way, Maria. I feel like
the original podcast.
Can you believe? I had to phone a friend to vent instead of exploding at work. You know, and that, my friends, is what your group chat's for.
Exactly. Offload that stress on a trusted friend who consents to hold it. Or, you know, so that you can.
Who? What?
Consents to hold it.
There you go. Okay.
Because if you calling me during the workday, girl, I'm at work too. Please, like, tell me you need 8 minutes so I know what to do. So, you know, but you do want to keep your cool in the office. So to our listener, first of all, know that you're not alone.
That's right.
And also that this is not the end. It could be a pivoting point for you. It could be a turning point. Absolutely. So in your next job interviews, you can even spin it as a learning experience. You know, I faced a conflict and it taught me the importance of communicating proactively before the frustrations boil over. See that right there? Take your lemonade and make some lemon drops.
Hey.
Lemonade from lemons. You know, Beyonce would be so proud of us right now. Hey, Beyonce girl. Hey.
Speaking of Beyonce, hey girl. Sliding into our next question from Over It and Quitting. Oh, we had the fired and fed up. Now we got over it and quitting. Honey, she writes, I am this close. Okay, y'all. Fingers close together. My nails are touching to quitting my job. My manager is toxic. I am burnt out. And Beyonce told me to release the job, and break my soul. But I just quit like YOLO, quit with no plan. Tell them you won't break my soul. Or is that irresponsible? I'm torn.
Yes, the anthem of the Great Resignation. She, you know, Beyonce and Frida too. We'll give it up to Big Frida. They really have people out here ready to just walk out. No 2 weeks or nothing. Just, you know, just cue the music and roll out with your speaker.
Just yank the cord and go, right?
Oh my gosh. They worked me so damn hard, right? Right? Sounds real familiar. I mean, Kashana, what do you think? Like,
I don't know. I feel like I felt that in my spirit, Maria, because sometimes a job is working your nerves so bad that you are ready to sing, I'm gonna find new drive at the desk, okay? Listen, there's absolutely no shame in leaving a toxic situation because really one of the things that you and I talked a lot about, how resentment, you know, shows up as dis-ease in your body, particularly when you're not able to figure out a healthy way to release the emotions that you're having day to day. Like we've been taught, keep your emotions at home, do the work at the work. No, y'all, we are not robots, okay? AI might be a thing, but we are not the AI, right? And so like your humanness, if it has nowhere to go, it's going to show up somewhere. So there's absolutely no shame in leaving a toxic situation. And life is just too short to stay somewhere that's killing your health and frankly killing your vibe. And if I had a mic, I would drop it. And I would to Beyonce's beat too. Ow, my brother is going to be so proud that we've called out Beyonce in more than one episode.
Oh my gosh. But, and you know the but is coming.
Now the fact that you have a but and not an and, but here we go.
Right, that's big for me. Big. And but, and here's a but. You know, we all know quitting impulsively can have real consequences.
Yeah, for sure.
So warm and candid doesn't mean we won't give you some tough love. You know, before you send that I quit email or, you know, bye Felicia, your way out of there, there is such a thing as gracefully exit planning. Right? You can have an exit plan. Remember in episode 3 where we told you to stop winging it? You know, this is a form of winging it too. Well, I feel justified. I'm burnt out. They got one more time. Make a real plan. Because you will be flying by the seat of your pants looking for a job without a job, especially
and
now.
that is the worst time to look for a job, is when you don't have one. And I know folks who are looking right now can attest to that. I know, us having client work, I always have a plethora of inquiries coming in when I am overtaxed with clients. And then when my client work is starting to ebb, all of a sudden it is like the Sahara. So the same is true for when you're looking for a job. So you got to ask yourself, do I have another job lined up? Can I actually handle financially a few months of job hunting? And do I have both an escape plan and a growth plan? Baby, mid-40s Kashana is talking to 35-year-old Kashana. Because let me tell you what I did not have. IFA. Okay? It is one thing to quit for something, a better opportunity, your own hustle, going back to school. But it's like another thing to quit just to escape. I don't want you to run from things. I want you to run toward things.
Right. Because what did we just say in our last episode? Boo, if you burnt out, it's you and yourself. You still burnt out.
You're still burnt out. You go to the next place, still be burnt out.
Exactly. So you want to do the things that help you before you quit. Have you set boundaries with that toxic boss?
Yes.
Have you sought any support from a mentor, from your group chat squad to cope with the situation, right? Mm-hmm. That might not cure it, but coping while you're in it is important. Sometimes making your workplace work for a bit longer can give you the space to job search on your own terms. Absolutely. We're not saying it's misery forever, but you can make a strategic exit. Cue to stage 2017 where Kashana saved me from prematurely killing my own career. There was a way for me to keep that, to cope, and to make space in my life to endure while also finding things I enjoyed, so that I could balance and make a real plan for this is how I want to exit on my own terms. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you, my real advice is if you can figure out how to keep your own boundaries with this toxic boss while you're there, you'll find a little more spaciousness to do a job that I'm going to assume, make a presumption that you kind of like if you applied for it and are doing it. Yeah. And also figure out, well, what do I actually want to do next? Because right now, all you want to do is not that. Not with this boss.
Not that. I was talking to a friend about that the other day. They called me for some career advice, and I said, listen, if I'm going to be giving you this career coaching gratis, I mean, we need to have some focus, okay? And so what type of, it was a particular industry, what type of work in it do you want to do? Well, I don't know. Well, do you want to do this? No. Well, do you want to do that? No. What do you want to do? I don't know. Call me back when you know.
Right. Because career coaching is not the same as career exploration services.
Hello.
And do one, and we can do the other so much more richly.
Thank you so much. Well, okay. Our next text in the group chat, it comes from a manager dealing with what she calls an allergic to effort team member.
Not allergic to effort.
That is hilarious. Basically, that's so funny. An entitled team member drama, a dramedy, if you will. She writes, I have a direct report who is 6 months in, and already acting entitled.
Oh.
Ooh. The word, every time I see the word or hear the word entitled, I already know there's a generational dynamic happening. Immediately, I know. He complains about everything, says certain tasks are beneath him, expects a promotion already, and even told me outright, well, if I had to do XYZ, I'd expect others to do it too. I'm at my wit's end. How do I handle this without losing my cool or demotivating my entire team?
This is wild for me. One, on so many levels. I won't go through them. I will say...
like Jumanji.
So much is happening. It's like a Jenga situation. What am I pulling out? This goes back to my own nosiness.
Yes.
I wish I had more information here, but with what you gave me, yes. With what you gave me, this gives me flashbacks to episode 7 as well, right? The I suffered through it, so you should too attitude. Mm-hmm. This person may have heard some old school wisdom, like I paid my dues, now I don't fetch coffee or anything. A lot is happening here, Kashana. 6 months in and wants a promotion. I'm curious about how advancement was explained to this person within this organization. Um, Certain tasks are beneath him.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
always interesting.
It's very interesting. A lot of assumptions I'm making here that I want to identify in my own mind and suspend from the conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that not knowing a lot of the details, just what we've been given.
I know,
Kashana.
because my first thing that popped up for me was like, coffee, sir. I made the coffee. I brought the donuts. I was employee, intern, all of that. Like, what makes you so special? Then I had to check myself,
Mm,
right? Immediately had to check myself because I had the same questions as you. When you start talking about compensation 6 months in, that means there was not role clarity. That means that promotion was glossed over. And we do that a lot in interviews, right? Oh yeah, there's plenty of opportunity for, oh yeah, people move up here. Oh yeah, when you work hard. No, is there career laddering in the organization? Can you give me examples of team members who are here who have been promoted in-house, and what did it take? Can I talk with them, right? Like, making it okay to have the conversation about moving up within an organization at the onset, I think is something that generationally is hard for me, not as much to anymore, but it was very hard for me at first to do. And now I'm understanding, like, that's because I wasn't clear at the onset. I was
yeah,
okay because I was socialized to come into an OPEG workplace, to
yeah.
feel around in the dark until somebody grabbed me into the light, right? Younger professionals are not coming into the workplace like that. They're like, hello, I have my flashlight.
Mm-hmm. And they've been pushed and kind of prodded to seek promotion, to advance at an accelerated pace.
Yes.
And they've seen that be possible for others, whether it was real or not,
Yep.
because so much of the real gets lost in the social media highlights reel. But
Absolutely.
if there's any validity in what they're saying, I think, Kashana, you've already like proven that you got to pause and check yourself on that,
Yeah.
right? Occasionally they have a point,
Yep.
or sometimes they are just lazy, but
Yep.
they might be craving meaningful work.
Which I think both can be true, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
the thing that you're not motivated to do, you are going to drag your feet on. And when I help managers design their job descriptions, and particularly for us when we're dealing with sales and fundraising and people who are looking to generate revenue, like, one of the things I want to know is 70% of that job got to be something that folks are excited about. That's still a C, just in case anybody wants to know, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not B work, that's C work.
And the C is passion.
So there's a
B is the honor
lot of
roll.
room for dialing it in that does not bring you to an 80, a 90, a 95, 100.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the bottom line. Exactly. So I think that I have to take responsibility as a manager to make sure that I am clear in my expectations, that I am clear up front, having a frank one-on-one, you know, bringing that conversation to life. Like, I sense you're unhappy with some tasks and you're eager for advancement. Let's talk about how growth really happens here. Like, lay out a timeline, and a normal timeline, a realistic timeline for promotions in your organization, and the skills that that team member needs to demonstrate. And that, yes, everyone on the team contributes to basic tasks. Sometimes people don't truly get it until you spell it out. And as we learned this season, your team cannot read your mind, friends. And feedback is an invitation to connection. So you got to give that feedback straight, no chaser.
Then you definitely invoke that team culture,
Yeah.
right? If this person is, as you say, entitled, a simple understanding of the why behind the work can help. And what does that look like? Here's an example. Look, we all take turns doing the things that aren't as exciting for us because we're a team, and no one on this team is above the work. I jump in and do grunt work when it's needed too. Emphasize the we here. Sometimes shining a light on the team values can
Yes.
snap an entitled person out of their self-centered view. Look, I know one of the things I really respected this about a person I worked for, CEO of a large national organization that does just amazing work, real impact. We leased office space in a large building. And 100%, if we were in the office and there was like a piece of trash or something on the floor, I'd always notice that he'd pick it up. Then one day I noticed him picking up something in the elevator and putting it in the trash. Then I noticed him picking up something outside the building. We were all walking out. He was waiting for his car. He picked something up and threw it in the trash. He didn't ever think he was above. making the place where we worked, where our partners came in and met us, as presentable as possible.
Yeah.
He didn't say, oh, we pay cleaners for that. The building has cleaners for that. The
That's
city
right.
has people who come up. The city's dirty anyway. That was never what I took from witnessing him do this. And it was just a habit of his.
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh, I love that.
And therefore I inherited this habit of like, I'm not too big to reach down and make sure something gets in the trash. I'm not too big to keep my workplace tidy in our open workspace, right? I'm not too big to, take a step away from the group I'm talking to. Oh, excuse me, let me just throw this out. I know this is out of place. You know what I mean? Like, I really took that from him. And there was never a time where I thought he was asking me or someone on my team to do something that he didn't already decide was critically important for the whole organization, that we didn't have a role to play in that whole ecosystem, and also that I didn't think he himself would step in and figure out how to do.
Ooh, I love that. And I think that's like quiet modeling, right? Like that to me is one of the aspects of leadership. Like everybody can get their hand 30, literally. Everybody's
Right.
responsible for the brand, for the image, for your handshake being as firm as your smile. You know what I mean? Like everybody's responsible for that. And so I would say, like, also don't be afraid to let them face consequences. That's one of the things I was talking to a CEO about this morning. And she was like, yo, I just think I just waited too long. I was too nice. Like, does somebody need to go? And I was like, let them go. And she's like, but they're such a good person, but they're going through this or that. And I was like, listen, I'm just holding the mirror up to you because I'm the same way, right? Like somebody has to always tell me, like, you got to let them do so-and-so, which is why it's good to have peer mentors. Whoop. That's
Yes.
a peer paragraph, sidebar, bonus. Please, you got to have folks who can hold you accountable, and accountability is love, to ensuring that you are doing the thing you said you want to do. So if he refuses tasks, let me tell you something. That's insubordination. Whoop.
It's what it is.
Document it, and it will affect his reviews. Make that clear in a professional way. I need to know that I can count on you for all parts of your role. And if that does not happen, there will be impacts on your performance evaluation. Full stop. Sometimes a reality check of, baby, your raise is on the line, okay, works wonders with entitlement.
100%. I agree with that. People need to hear that more often. Why
Yes.
don't y'all pause, replay that whole little section again?
Hello?
Face the consequences. Even in my parenting, I have to remind my husband, like, yo, natural consequences are not punishment.
No.
They're the consequences of the choices you're making. So if you're given a task and you want clarity, you want to hear the why, I really encourage bosses to be the types of people who have an answer for that. Oh, it's not clear why I need you to do all of your job. Let me break it down. Like, but then knowing that and still being like, well, I'm just not going to do it. That is insubordination. And it should be documented, especially if you did take the time to say, I explained how all of our work leads up to this. This is the aggregate impact. We all signed on to this.
Yep.
This is clearly identified in your job description. Because what we're not going to do is pay you full time for you to do half time of your work. And now you're telling me you need an admin assistant. You do not. You need to do the administrative part of your job.
Correct. Of which we all have a piece.
Thank you.
Okay. Hello? So is there anything that you wish that you'd have known in your early career? Like, what would you go back and tell early career Maria?
Oh, early career Maria was almost solely career focused as a young person. As a whole person, I was very much a worker. That's how I identified myself. And I've since changed. But I wish then that I already knew that my job is a way to make money. My career could be a pathway to some greater impact or connection to some other calling I have in my life, but that a vocation is really your calling. And those three things may be connected, but they also may not be. Right. At the end of the day, though, my life is for living. And I have to play a more active role in creating and cultivating and being accountable for my whole life. I think in the scenario we were just talking about, Mr. Entitlement, I think I identified with a potential ambitious nature that is somehow connected to needing external validation and permission to be something. So you could be 6 months into a job and really hype and want a promotion that you're not going to get. And you could also be really hype about being in a new environment and learning new things, and maybe just need to invest in a new hobby.
Yeah.
Right? Like those two things could be true.
That's that dopamine hit, right? Like to get that hit, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that I don't even know what I thought, to be honest, when I was young about work. I ain't want to work. I was trying to be a stay-at-home mom. Just so you know. Shout out to my ex-husband who was like, yeah, nah, son. I was not clear. Actually, I think I was clear, but I was not encouraged. go after the thing that I think now that I can look back and say that I probably really should have done. I really should have pursued something creative, in fashion, in textiles, in design and manufacturing on the business side, but definitely in things that bring me a lot of joy. And because I didn't know how, and I have taken some risks. I mean, being an entrepreneur running on business, that is a risk. Hello, riding this cash river, risk every day. Okay.
River.
Honey, it feels like
Babbling
Grand
Brook.
Rapids. The Grand Rapids.
Rapids.
So I think that having the space to try and to fail. I didn't think I had any space to fail. So if I didn't have any space to fail, I didn't have any space to try. So what I knew what I need to do was make money. And that was it, you know? So I think that opportunities to fail and learn were things that I was clear about providing to my team members as I grew, to be both a coach and to be coached, to be willing to be a learner as well as a teacher, to have that give and take, right? That repartee, that hitting that ball back or that volleying the ball, like that became very important to me early. Instinctively, I didn't have words for it at the time. I was a really young manager when I first started managing people. But now I have, more lexicon around how to say and do the thing. And so I would say communicating clearly, documenting behavior, but also making expectations clear. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got to touch and agree. Okay. And try channeling that ambition of his into something productive. Like 70% of your employees' engagement comes from you as the manager. 20% comes from stretch projects. 10% comes from that personal and professional development that happens outside. So remember I said, I like to make sure job descriptions got 70% of things that my team is excited to do. There's a big room in 30%. That stretch project, that could get you to a solid B+. Mm-hmm. Could almost get you to an A. Okay. He might find out he's not as ready for the big leagues as he thinks he is, which is a lesson in of itself. And if none of that works and he stays his entitled self, you have every right to show him to the door, okay? Because you've got to protect your team's morale. Too many times as managers, we let the toxic team members stay because we are too afraid to say the thing, which is, peace out, homie. You think we got time for one more?
I hope so. Is there one? Is there more?
Okay, our next inbox message came from one that many can relate to, friend. Dealing with an incompetent manager.
Oh.
I call this Atlas with the weight of a boss. Supposed to
not Atlas, like holding up the world.
Who writes, I swear my manager is incompetent, and they put that thing in bold. He means well, but I'm constantly picking up his slack and even explaining basic things to him. I'm doing my job and half of his. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I am frustrated. How do I manage up without, getting fired? Should I go above him? Help, because this dynamic is exhausting.
A classic case of managing your manager. It's a dilemma.
Yeah.
Yes, take a breath. Just want to pass you a virtual high five. Okay, virtual high five to this person sending in the message, because at least you're acknowledging that you are not the problem. I think it's a real trap to believe picking up your boss's work is somehow an indication of your amazing ability. So you just dig in like, look what I can do, or some other type of inadequacy. Like, why aren't I communicating enough that like, this is not what I do? So anyway, shout out to correctly identifying the problem. You're basically saying that you're carrying your boss on your back, in addition with whatever the work is that your role actually appropriately ascribes to you. So you're doing too much, and it's not your fault, and you don't want to be.
This definitely feels like that sounds like a sitcom. In fact, I love me some Abbott Elementary. Okay, and this is like the classic sitcoms where the employees have a clueless boss and they got to huddle to get stuff done in spite of them, right? Low key. Like, you remember how Principal Ava is hilarious for TV, right? But can you imagine in real life being a teacher under a principal who is busy filming TikToks all day? Janine, who's a teacher at Abbott Elementary, and her crew often have to run the school behind the scenes. Let me tell you something. That gets old in real life. Also, shout out to our educators who listen to us who are already saying, that is not a sitcom. That is my real life.
Oh, no. Well, I feel like this is becoming a thread and part of our like response to folks. Maybe we should do a whole different like one-off, or maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Documentation. I think we keep saying it, and now I'm realizing like, do people know what that really looks like?
Yes,
Maybe there's a
buddy.
cool little resource or webinar we could do about how to document what's going on, but that's separate. Anyway, document and communicate. That is step one. You
Mm-hmm.
have to start keeping track of the instances where you have had to step in, or the mistakes the boss made, you had to come in and fix. This is not like shady, it's super factual.
Yeah.
I had a receipts file. I had a file. I set my work email inbox, I set a feature so that with one particular colleague, we were neither peers nor was he my boss, but he was in a managerial level above me and we just had a lot of collaboration. And after a while, I just started setting any email between he and I directly, or that were peer on which he was CC'd because I'm working directly with one of his teams that's on my peer level, but he's going to be involved. I just set it so that any email between he and I went to a separate outside of the work. It was forwarded to another separate inbox I kept personally called me and he. It was the me and he receipts file.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it ever comes to it, you know, you might actually need to tactically show what's been
Yeah.
going on,
Yeah.
or at least to have a frank conversation and say, hey, I thought this was like a one-time thing or a few incidents, but
Mm-hmm.
actually I've noticed a pattern and I want to show it to you. You know, or in the last project, I really ended up spending X amount of my time recalculating the budget because there were so many errors. And my expectation was coming from you, there would be no errors,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's not you're bad at budgeting or you're making mistakes. It's like, yo, you're my boss. I thought you had everything right.
That's right.
Come to find out, I had to make it right. And it wasn't clearly communicated from
That's
you
right.
that you were giving me something to do. I thought you were giving me a finished product, right? So being able to introduce a conversation with documentation rather than just saying, you suck at budgeting, yo.
Yeah. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. That'd be my inside voice. Oh, Lord. The number of times I've had to work for CEOs and I was like, why do you have this job?
There's an entire generation of employees that's like, my boss is paid X amount of money and I show them how to make a PDF file every day.
Yep.
Every day.
I hate it. I hate everything about it. Step two. Whoo, that almost took me out. Try to support.
Deep breaths.
They did. I did. Feet are back on the floor again. Try to support / coach your boss secretly. Now, I don't believe in overextending energy on this one, but it is a fact of the workplace for now. And it's a muscle that you've got to develop. This managing up muscle is one you have to develop. So why should I have to coach my boss? I know. That is actually the question. But sometimes that is the path of least resistance. And we talked earlier about your escape plan and then your growth plan. And so
Yes.
until you got your escape and growth plan on deck, hello, this is keeping you on the runway that you need to be on. Next time your boss is fumbling, offer help in a collaborative way. Hey, I have a method that works for doing XYZ. You want me to walk you through it? I know your boss is going to say no. I'm just telling you that right now. But you frame it like teamwork, not like I'm teaching you because you don't know this. A lot of incompetent managers aren't trying to be bad. Often they were promoted for the wrong reasons and also lack training. Okay. Sometimes, and we talked about this earlier, Maria, in episode 9 for Dreamers and even episode 2. Many of us were promoted without proper training, and it leads to a lot of uncertainty. Your boss might actually welcome tips if you don't embarrass him.
Right. And this also connects to, like, I think this is like the next step too, to be able to manage up and still have boundaries.
Yes.
Because regardless of how collaborative and supportive and what amazing coach posture you take with your boss, there are people who really believe the reason I'm the boss, the reason I'm the manager is I shouldn't even have to do this.
That's
So if you got a method that works, go do it. Bye. You know, so it's great that you're capable, but always be careful not to always save the day. You'll become the permanent crutch. I know you think it means you become indispensable or you become like the go-to person. This is great for you, but you really just make yourself a crutch. So choose which fires you want to extinguish and which you can let burn a little so that your boss has to notice it. For example, and I'm using this because I'm this type of boss, right? If you're chronically late with the report, a polite reminder ahead of the deadline could be something that's a low lift for you and very helpful. Something like, heads up, that report is due Friday.
That's right.
And I would say, cut it right there. Heads up, the report's due Friday, and maybe add something that you're doing connected to the report. I'm happy to submit it with slides if it's done by Friday morning. right? Rather than, because I think something I used to do when I had a manager is the reports due Friday. Let me know if you need anything before it gets done.
Yep.
And you know
And
what
the
would
answer
happen,
would be Thursday
Kashana?
afternoon, Thursday afternoon, Thursday
It
afternoon.
would be Friday at
Oh, shoot.
3:30 p.m.
Oh, shoot.
And my boss will be like, oh, responding to the email I just sent saying that, let me know if you need help. Boss will be like, yeah, can you actually just do it? I didn't get to it. So now I would say the audacity is at a whole all-time high. You really need to come with those strong boundaries too. So even in the messaging around the reminder, the report's due Friday. I could get a deck done if you have the report to me by 3 o'clock on Friday.
Yep.
Right? But definitely like try not to do the whole I can do this. Like just
But leaving that
if
open-ended, the open-ended is
yeah,
what opens the door to the tomfoolery that
yes.
you're experiencing,
Your
right?
boundaries have to be clear. That way, if he fails, it's still on him. It is a fine line. You don't want the team to suffer,
Yeah.
but sometimes a drop ball or two really is a rubber ball. And with the managing up, sometimes it seems like a glass ball to you, but the manager might have a bird's eye view that yeah,
That's
it's
right.
due, but like not really. So you don't have to take that stress on.
You actually do. But I want to look for a silver lining in all this because I know that there's probably like 19 strategies we could do. And we probably do an episode on strategies on managing up. We probably just need to.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact of the matter is, if you're doing half your boss's job, that means you're learning to do a higher job.
Mm.
There's the lining for me. Silver, rose gold, You can position this experience in the future as, well, I've already been performing at the next level, right? Here are the types of self-directed things I've been doing. Here are the types of strategic work I had to take on. Here are my stretch projects, because that's what they are. So hang in there, document the heck out of things. Everybody needs to have a wins folder, success folder. Every time you land it, I did it on this day, this time, because you're going to forget, right? It's going to go into it's going to land as a feeling. I always do everything, but not as the fact of what you have done.
Exactly.
So supporting the boss where you can, cover your own behind. And if it's in any consolation to y'all, you are basically getting a masterclass in leadership do's and don'ts simultaneously. So that one day when you are in a higher position, you'll know exactly the kind of manager you do not want to be.
And if that's what you're doing, use the office hours. Yeah. Use the office hours. Those one-on-ones with your boss, go back into your wins folder, go back into your receipts.
That's it.
So last week when I updated the budget and made so many corrections, I'd love to understand how we got there. Yep. Is there something in our, just not necessarily like, how did you mess up the budget, right?
That's right.
But
That's
something
right.
like if there's a greater perspective that you don't have simply because of your position within the organization, try your best to get the insight from your manager about
That's
how
right.
that's happening.
That's right.
Ask strategic questions. And I guess if we did a masterclass, this would be one of them.
Yes, it would.
Is there a management meeting that, given what you've been doing, it would be so helpful to the team if you sat it on instead of him?
Ooh, I love that. I love.
Is there a meeting I could take off your calendar?
I love
because
that.
I've been doing so much of this, and I feel like I could probably be really helpful if I'm hearing the information firsthand.
I love that. Oh, that's so good. Well, Maria, I know we could do this all day long, but I feel like we got some good stuff. Listen, y'all, if you enjoyed this, listen, tell us in the comments. We might jump back in for a bonus episode, okay? Because we have more listener stories. We have more listener questions, and really just like doing a quick recap of the season, the things that we have learned. You've heard us pulling some of those things out in our listener questions. We know that management isn't easy, but you could bring ease to your management experience. And that's what Management Made Easy is all about. So we hope that we have been helpful in the season. We'll be back with another season. We have more to do. We have more curiosities to explore. We have more side eyes to give, Maria, okay?
The side eyes never stop.
They never stop. And more learnings and lessons from how we grew up, I think.
Right. And if for whatever reason you don't want to wait for the next season, or you're replaying this one, you're going back, you're sharing whatever. In the meantime, in between time, you better hit up Management Made Easy if you need a consult. If you need a coach. Hello. If you need someone to come in and work with your team directly. It's not just about listening to the podcast and figuring it out on your own, which is fine. And if you want to dig deeper, you want to get this one-on-one love and touch from us, please check out ManageMint.com. Management.co, and see what we have to offer, because we are offering it to you.
All the links will be in the show notes. This has been an awesome season. Thank you for being in our community. Share this out to all the folks you know. Help us to grow. Okay, subscribe, forward, all the things, and we will see you real soon.
In the meantime, miss us, because we'll miss you. Thanks for a great season.